So, this is just a disclaimer before you watch the actual interview. You are gonna hear me say 3 things in this interview, and I'm gonna explain why you're gonna hear me say that. I am interviewing my maternal side of the family, which is my mom's side of the family, and my mom's side of the family is Mexican. So, basically, the things you're going to hear me say, or you're going to hear me say abuelita, tia, and mima. And I will tell you what those 3 things are before we get into the video, so you're not confused. An abuelita is grandma in Spanish, and tia is aunt in Spanish. You can say tia differently. You can say la tia or la tia, but I've grown up all my life calling her tia. And mima is just mima. It's another word for grandma. I call my grandma mima and abuelita sometimes, and cause I've just grown up doing that. So let's get started with this documentary. I'm right behind the camera, and I'm gonna ask my tia, which is right here, tia questions, and my mima.
Our parents come from Mexico. So we're Mexicans.
We're Mexicans. Margarita.
Garcia Salazar.
And what's your father's name?
Severo Ojeda. Severo González Ojeda.
Zacatecas, Mexico.
My dad came from Guanajuato.
Okay.
Nine. Yep.
So can you name all of them right off the bat? Like all your siblings?
Well, we have to, let's see.
Don't start counting your fingers, Perla.
Well, hello. There's Modesto, the oldest one.
Okay.
And Michael, the second one. And Ezekiel. And then my sister Naomi. And then Eliseo. And then there was me, Perla. And then there was Rini. And then there was Delia. And then Alex. Well, that was a long time ago, but we had fun. It was never a dull moment, that's for sure.
9 of us.
9 of us. And we all had chores to do, but we tried to do them.
She tried to do them, I did them.
All right, she ironed. Okay, this was our mother right here. This is our father.
Okay.
And this is the oldest son, is Modesto, and then Miguel, Michael, and then Ezekiel, of our brothers.
So how many brothers did you have?
We had 6, and there was 3 sisters counting me. Okay, that was this one here.
We never knew our great-grandmother because she passed away before we were born.
I just want to make it clear that their great-grandmother is my great-great-great-grandmother. Okay.
We didn't know her. Either one of the grandparents. We didn't meet them or nothing.
Who's that in the picture?
It's a great-grandma.
Who's next to her?
Who would you say?
This is our mother's mother, and she died at the General Hospital in Kansas City, Missouri. The young man next to her is our uncle, okay. my mother's brother. And when my grandmother passed away, since she was there by herself with Grandma, she ended up having to go to an orphanage, St. Joseph Orphanage in Kansas City, Missouri, because according to the people at the hospital, she had no relatives there. But actually she did. They lived in Kansas City, Kansas. Her oldest brother, Juan Salazar, he lived in Kansas City, Kansas. And
Ignacia.
when he found out that where she was in the orphanage, then she used to come and visit them at his house, and then eventually she came and lived with a great aunt of ours, of my mom's. Yeah. And
so what was her name?
Amalia.
What's her full name? Is that all you know?
Amalia Araiza, Araiza Garcia. My mother.
Yeah.
This is her youngest brother.
Okay.
The only reason he did not go to the orphanage is because he stayed with his older brother, who was already married and had some children. And his name is Francisco Salazar. And that's how he was about 15. No, he was about 14 when his mother died.
Okay.
Which was Margarita Garcia Salazar's mother also. Okay. Francisco and Margarita Garcia Salazar, brother and sister. This is their mother.
Okay.
And they went to live with an aunt. She took care of them until they became old enough to get married. My mother, Margarita Garcia, and he went to live in Detroit, Michigan, where his oldest brother lived. And his oldest brother was working for the Ford Motor Company in Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
And when he was 16, he went to work for.
So she's the first one you can remember. She's the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Then who's the second?
And then, of course, her aunt's husband was Rafael.
Okay.
Araiza Garcia.
So it was those two, and then it went to your mother. How do you say her name?
Margarita.
Margarita. So that's a picture of her, right there. Mm-hmm. And can you point her out?
This one right here.
Right there. Okay. So who is next? So wait, and then there's your dad's right next to her, mm-hmm. And then after that, who's next? Do you have any other pictures?
My mother had to travel without transportation, and she ran and walked through fields. Her and her mother and her sister went through the fields across country as far as they could until they got to the border of Texas. And then from Texas, they were able to catch a bus to Kansas City, Kansas. Not hardly any.
Not at the time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And but there were people there that knew how to speak to them in Spanish. And so my mother's oldest brother was already living in Kansas City, Kansas. And that's why they ended up traveling to Kansas City, Kansas, because he was already here. Well, the two oldest brothers, the one that ended up moving to Michigan. This is the special dances that were used in Mexico. And people did not go around in this kind of an outfit. it was made for the special dances that they had, and that's usually done for the fiestas. The Mexican fiestas and the food that's the traditional Mexican food, which a lot of the restaurants around here now still carry on that tradition, especially of the food. And they have the fiesta in September when they celebrate the Mexican Independence Day.
And this is my great 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 grandmother, Pascuala Garcia Salazar, and she married Sinon Acevedo Salazar. This is my great great grandmother, Margarita Garcia Salazar, and she was married to Severo Gonzalez Ojeda, and that changed her name to Ojeda later on when she got married to him.